Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Extensity with Esther. Today promises to be very, very, very insightful, as I happen to be with somebody that I truly respect and regard in so many ways. This person in question is someone who has come out from a very tough background, from a background that almost speaks of impossibility, but has been able to fight, to stand up, and to continue. And he's doing remarkable things. He's an author, and he's also a father to two lovely girls. He will do the rest of the introduction. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Victor.
Yes, ma'am.
For sitting here and accepting to do this.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here.
I know you are not very camera, but you had to do this, right?
I have to.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome,
please, can you let our viewers into who is Victor Maji?
Oh, wow, interesting. Thank you so much, Esther, for having me here. I regard it as a great honor to be able to share my experience with the world out there. My name is Victor Maji Ojochegbe. That's my name, and I'm a writer. I write more, even though I've authored a few books, and I regard myself as a full-time Christian. A part-time
full-time Christian.
Yeah.
Not part-time, half and half.
No, I'm a full-time Christian, because of how I live and how I respond to life, which at the course of this session, I'm going to share a bit of my experiences. Good to be here, ma'am.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. So tell me, I like our viewers to know really about, your beginning.
Oh.
What kind of a home do you come from? Where was everything perfect? Was everything, normal? What's your upbringing, the conventional one?
Yeah.
What are some of the uniqueness of what molded you to be this person you are today?
Okay. Wow, that's a long journey.
Right.
A long journey, actually. Yeah, I was born into a family of 4, and I'm number 3.
Okay.
And we grew up with a dad and the both of them, actually, even though my mom left quite early.
At what age was that?
I was 9, going to be 10.
You barely even knew anything about life.
Yeah, that's actually the truth. That's actually the truth. And growing up, I grew up with a father that was more of an absentee father. He wasn't always available because of his lifestyle. He was given to a lot of alcohol. So yeah. My mom was a woman of God. She was an evangelist that worked powerfully in the apostolic anointing. But my dad wasn't really it at the time we were growing up. So we barely saw him at home, actually, because you go to work from the office, you go to a drinking bar, joint, then sometimes he doesn't come home. Some other times they just find him somewhere. Most times my mom will have to go and pick him up from the gutter.
Wow.
It does that way. It was so tough for us, because he was always not available. And the times that he was home, he's either sleeping because of the hangover of the previous night's journey with alcohol. And that was all I knew about my dad before my mom passed on. So it was on that way until I was 9. I was going to be 10. And my mom got took in for another child, and she went to the hospital to give birth to the baby, but she didn't come home again.
Oh, so she died while giving
birth.
Oh my God! Did the child make it?
No. The both of them died.
Oh
actually.
My God! That must have been really very painful.
It's not. Even as I'm talking to you right now, I haven't recovered from that
experience.
My
God. Yeah. Oh my God.
And it's it's almost 30 years now. It's almost 30 years now, but It's an experience that anytime I think about it, I don't want to get too emotional on this set right now, but it's really it's tough. It's been a journey. It's been tough, even right from that time, and that's how I lost my mom. The last thing I heard from her was that morning we came out for morning devotion as usual as a family, and mommy said she was going to the hospital to bring baby. She'll be back home soon.
How old were you then, please?
I was going to be 10, just a few months to my 10th year birthday, and till now I'm still waiting for her to return back with the baby.
And how has that changed you?
It changed. That experience changed everything about me completely, and then, since mommy was the only one we had with us, and she was a woman of God, like I mentioned earlier. So
she was your like a foundation that held
she was a pillar.
You all together.
She was a pillar.
That's the right word.
Yeah, she served as a pillar to us. So always putting God before us, devotional every day. We had the Bible club in our house growing up, where all other children within the estate where we're living, where they all come together to our house to have Bible clubs and all that. So as far as that aspect of God was concerned, we're drinking from my mom, and suddenly she passed on. So I couldn't hold it. I couldn't bear it, because the good God that she spoke to us all through her life, I didn't feel that
where was he?
Going at that time was the goodness of God. So I got disappointed in God, actually. So from that age, I decided to just go my way. That was the same month I started smoking tobacco.
Oh, wow.
Age of 9, 10.
Of 9, 10, you started? No.
I'm telling you, it's true. One of my uncles came to stay with us because we're very young. My dad's last born, the last born of my dad's family, came to stay with us, and he was a smoker. So, and I got very close with him, and he introduced me to tobacco. So, just
at the age of 9.
Yeah, a few weeks after my mom's death, I started smoking. And I had made my mind up that I was going to be strong. I wanted to be a very, very tough guy. That was what I wanted to do, because the God that my mom spoke to us about, he didn't help out. So I became disappointed in him. So my life took that path. So I went very far. I went very, very far. So at the age of, when I became 10 plus, I was introduced into gang, because...
You were a gangster?
Yeah, I was. I had my first swearing into a cult, at the age of 10. So I became...
I can't even imagine this. Really?
It's unbelievable, even to me. But I became that tough. I went very, very, very deep. So because having begun to smoke, I started meeting some other persons who were much more older than me, and I loved their lifestyle. A lot of them were in cult. They were gang leaders, and they were part of, gangs around that environment. So I didn't have an option than to join them. So I became part of the gang. Then that was how my journey went.
And what now happened?
Yeah, I was
to think that someone started smoking at the age of 9, got initiated at the age of 10, and then someone who had a background of godly family, godliness, godly home, and then now you are, I could even say you're a pastor because you're a teacher, an ardent teacher of the word.
Yeah.
What now happened, please?
Okay, so I really can't explain what happened, but over the years I've come to realize that God actually answered the prayers of my mom, over us. over me in particular, because like I said earlier, my mom succeeded in having 4 of us, but between myself and my older sister, it was a gap of 6 years, because my mom had 2 other children that died.
Oh.
Yes, the both of them died in between. So while she took in for me, everybody believed that I was going to go the same way the 2 that came previously went. So when I was born and I didn't go, so
you were tough. You said you wanted to be tough. You wanted to live a tough. As a tough guy, and you started that toughness from when you were born.
That's right. That tough nature was actually something calling me from the inside.
Oh.
Yeah, like even as I'm sitting, I'm still tough, but I'm tough in the positive now. I'm tough positively now. So that was the reason for my name Victor. So my mom named me Victor because I became victorious. I overcame all her fears of having
victory.
So I became I was named Victor. Then even my tribal name has a lot to do with my birth. Has a lot to do with my birth also. So that's how it was. The journey continued. I continued in that lifestyle, and knowing also that everyone around me, like my uncle, they were giving to that lifestyle also. So I didn't have an option. The best I knew about life was to be part of a gang, to smoke and to drink, and to just go that way. Anything that has to do with that you can think about, I was giving to it until I got into secondary school. I met new faces, new persons in secondary school, in my JSS one, and I, because of the lifestyle I had already adopted, I started looking for my kinds in secondary school, and I found them eventually. So in secondary school, in JSS one, I joined another gang in secondary school. So my journey went that deeper then until JSS 3, what we have as JSS 3 here in Nigeria.
Yes,
I was in JSS 3, and I started having an unusual experience. That's why I said I can't explain how it happened, but the experiences were unusual. For example, there was a time after the break, during the break in JSS 3, I went with the gang. We went outside of the school compound to go and smoke and get high, what we call Nigerians call to get high, So we went outside the school to get high, and while I was there in the Igbo man's shop smoking, I don't used to smoke one stick of cigarette. I will have to smoke maybe like 5, between 5 and 10 at the spot, to
5 to 10.
Yeah, to get high. So
gracious God,
I was already on number 4. I went to get the number 5th one from the Igbo man, and he was like, no, that he won't sell for me anymore. And I was too young for this lifestyle. That no matter the amount I'm going to offer him, he won't sell a stick of cigarette for me again. So I'm like, what could that be? I'm paying you, so why are you not selling? So everybody, but when I got home, I knew that something is not just going right.
Don't you think that all those things that you were trying to do at that time was a way of you trying to escape some of the pain?
The pains. That's what it is actually. What my experience was is exactly what you have just talked about. You understand? Because I couldn't just stand that state of just being vulnerable. I was left alone. I was disappointed in God. Life didn't make sense anymore. What I knew, my mom told us about life wasn't everything just went. So I had found joy and I had found happiness in this lifestyle. So I was ready to go as deep as possible. Like I said earlier, my mission growing up was to be very tough. So after that encounter with that Igbo man in that shop, I got back home. I started thinking about reflecting on my journey, and I was like, maybe something, God is up to something. So the thought of what my mom used to share with us started coming back to me about the goodness and the love of God and all that. So I didn't recover from that experience until I eventually met Christ.
Wow.
In that GSS3.
How did that happen?
I will tell you the story. So I had this very good friend of mine. He was the leader of our gang. We call him Skull. That was his name. So there was a day I was we're all in school. I think I was going to the canteen, and I heard his voice in the office of the president of Fellowship of Christian Students, FCS. And I was looking for him actually because we usually go to that space together. So, and I was passing through the window and I heard his voice. So I was moved to go in there and find out what he could be doing there because he was even tougher than I am. So what will he be doing with a Christian brother? Because I hated Christian brothers. I hated them so much to the point that back then in school, in secondary school, if an FCS person or a Christian brother is coming this way and I'm going in that direction, I would prefer to go around just for us not to meet because I didn't want anybody to tell me anything about God, about Jesus and all that. I didn't want any of that. So but that day I heard his voice in that office and I was forced to go there. So I got there. And I sat there with him, and he was discussing with the president of FCS back then, secondary school. And while I was there, I just started having an unusual feeling, from within me. Started sweating, and I'm like, what's happening? So before I knew, I just started, what's it called now?
Like convulsing?
Fidgeting, my body, I was just shaking all over.
Okay.
And he came, with the FCS president to find out what was happening. But I couldn't explain anything to them. So the highest I said was, I think I need Jesus at this point.
Just like that?
Just like that. I think I need Jesus at this point. So, and he was surprised, and the president also was surprised. So he now told me that he felt the same thing this morning. That was what brought him to have this meeting with the president of FCS. So that was how the both of us surrendered our heart to Jesus.
Your life to Christ.
From there, I had a lot on me because of the lifestyle. I had so much on me. You will not even believe it. From my GSS2, I already started moving around with a pistol on me. GSS2. So I had a small pistol. It belonged to my dad actually, but I had access to it.
Did you used to watch a lot of movies, all these action movies?
Yes.
Because I don't know where you got that inspiration from. That it was okay.
Apart from that, from age 9, I was already part of a gang. So and it was normal. And these people were people who were far older than me. Some of them were 10 years, 15 years older than me. So I was the little one, but they had already coached me on this lifestyle. So I was used to being armed, with either a knife and all that.
So you gave your life to Christ, and what changed? Like people, I'm sure those people who knew the kind of life you were living, they would have wondered.
Yes.
Nobody preached to you. Nobody said anything to you. On your own, you just decided to let it all go.
Yeah, I can't really say it's on my own because that was the beginning of my encounter with the Lord actually. Because that experience within that short space, that I walked into that office, I'm very sure maybe the president of FCS must have committed that atmosphere to the Lord, that really, really brought me on my knees and all that. So from that time, my life changed actually. Everything changed. I had so much on me. I even had some charms actually.
You did?
I did. I had some black magic. So the president couldn't handle it because he was a student, equally a student. So his knowledge couldn't handle my state. So he had to call the patron of FCS, which was one of the staff of our secondary school, who eventually took me out of the school to a particular man of God in town there. With the permission of the principal, I was moved out of school and I confessed Jesus, submitted everything I had on me to the man. So we burnt it that day. They set everything ablaze and everything got burnt. And that was the beginning of the transformation that has brought me to where I am right now.
Wow. I can't even look. If everything on my mind, I was to pour it out here, I think we won't even leave this set today. But This is so profound and very, very, my God, it's shocking to me because the person I know you to be right now is a total different person from who you are describing. And that is what the power of God can do in the life of a man.
That's right.
And listen, right now you are so engrossed with, getting people to walk in a way that is deeper for them with their relationship with God.
Yeah.
And you have been writing a couple of books.
Yes, I have.
Do you have any book that captured some of these experiences?
Not totally in details, but
I think you have to detail it because sometimes, we take a lot of things for granted. That's the truth. If we don't know what the details of somebody's journey is, we can just assume that this person is just a nice person and that was it. But there was a journey to this niceness. Yeah. And for me, I think that you might want to look at that. Since you are such a prolific writer, you should actually look at detailing it.
Okay, I think I should I'll do that.
Maybe in a memoir form. You can write a memoir. You can because there are people right now that as you're watching right now, there are tons of people who are not even at the age of making decisions that can alter lives, and they are currently making those decisions because they have no guide, they have no mentors, they've been disappointed. Just like he just said, life has happened, things were thrown at them, and today they are confused, they are just angry, and they are choosing to do things that are counter their destinies. You just heard him. I pray that the mercy of God will find you wherever you are. And that's not the life you were created to live. The enemy will want to explore your pain. He will want to take advantage of your pain. Of course, we all deal with one thing or the other. I mean, the coming back to you, talking about how, it was an atmosphere. You believe that somebody's prayer has affected, you in a way that you had to go back to your roots, which is what your mom taught you, to love Jesus, to go back to Jesus and all that. I had a very, an experience some time ago. I think it was shortly after COVID or during COVID. I think when they were easing up the lockdown or something, I went to the market. And I remember very well that morning, I don't know, for some reason, I just couldn't leave my bed on time. I was just in a place where I was meditating on some things and I began to pray. And, you pray in a way that when you are the one praying, but there are times that you pray and you know that you are not the one that is actually praying. Right. And that was what happened to me on that day. Wow. And when I got to the market, I went to the market to get a few things. And when I got to the market, there's this barrow guy that came to me. If you see his face, he had a lot of scars. Like, he was scary.
Wow.
He had you will see it like they use cutlass to cut his face or something, but it healed. So he had a big scar. Wow. And it's not just in one place. So he just came to me. I was buying some things and he came to me and he said, Barrow. I looked at him. At first I wanted to send him away, but something in me just said, leave him. So I said, okay. I put my things in his barrow. Trust me, as it was pushing that barrow, I was afraid. But I just obeyed what my heart was saying. So we finished all these things and we're going to my car. And something said to me, I had a pack of water, swan water in my boot. So something said, give him one. Wow. So I took one. Honestly, I've never done that. Even after that day, I don't think I've done that again to any barrow guy. So he said, give him one. So I took one and I gave it to the guy. And he was not looking at me in shock, like, what? I said, no, it's for you. You can have it. Drink it. It's for you. And the guy took the water, opened it, and he drank it. As soon as he drank that water, this was in Utako, as soon as he drank that water, he started telling me, he said, look, that he belongs to a cult, that there's a cult in the market. He started confessing, telling me the layers of the hierarchy of that cult, and told me what role he plays in that cult. I was shocked.
Wow.
And he said to me, he opened his clothes. And the next thing I saw charms. Even his belt was a charm. He raised his sleeve. I saw a lot of charms on his hand. And by some chance, some of the outside guys were passing. And they were angry with him. They said, why are you showing her that you have spoiled the medicine? It won't work again. They were angry. But this guy, that day I was in shock. Now, I'm saying this to say that you never know the prayers your mom has prayed, the prayer the fellowship was praying. And that is why we must not undermine when we have a push to pray.
That's true.
Even when we are not praying for things, these days we pray more for our own comfort.
That's right.
So your story is such a very, unique one.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed to be sitting with you right now.
Thank you,
and
Mom.
to be seeing this version of you, because I can't even imagine what you had to go through, the road you had to pass to get to this point. And from all that you've been through, what would you say? You're like a heartfelt counsel to somebody right now who is currently in a state where he can't explain, but it's just a place where he knows he does not belong. What would you say?
Yeah, all right. The time is short for me to tell the entire story and how I lost my dad along the way.
Along the way.
But what I would love someone out there to know is the truth is we're always more.
We are always more.
One thing that kept me going or that has brought me this far is the fact that I always knew within me, something was always telling me that I was more. There was more on my inside. There was more on my inside. So, and I've followed that inspiration. I've followed that revelation, that voice that keeps telling me that there's more. So even when I in the midst of this whole thing, I kept hearing that there's more to you. There's more to you. There's more to you. So I would just like to tell someone out there that it does not matter where you are right now and what you are going through. There is more to you. There is more to you. There's such a deposit of God on your inside that your mind can't even fathom. But I can tell you, based on where I'm coming from and my experiences over the years, that there is more to you. Where I am today, even though I'm not there yet, but I can tell you that I've come very far. I've come very far and I'm going very far. And but that revelation of the fact that there's more has brought me this far. And
there's more. There's as of a truth, there's more. I think it was this morning when I was coming for this recording, and I just looked at myself and I said, "You outlived yesterday.
Wow.
There's more to you."
That's right.
Yesterday could not hold you down. Yesterday was too small for you. So that's why I was smiling when you said there's more. Really, there's more to you. Yeah. There's more to you than meets the eye. There's more to you than the enemy will want you to believe. There's more to you than what circumstances and situations tries to dictate to you. You are more than that. You are God's investment. A preacher will say you are God's investment, that you are God's investment. He has invested into you. And until you see that, what do you see? He told Abraham, he said, what do you see? Until you see that, you cannot seize it. Until next time, please do well to subscribe to our channel, Extensity with Esther. Thank you all so much for your time, for listening. And thank you, sir, so much for taking out of your very busy schedule, leaving your two lovely daughters and your beautiful wife to come here and sit with me. It means the world to me. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, man.
Very grateful. Thank you.